There will come a moment when everything inside you says stop. Your body feels heavy, your mind is tired, your motivation disappears, and every excuse starts to sound reasonable. That moment is where most people quit. That moment is where average people turn around and go back to comfort. But that exact moment is where champions are born. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is the signal that you are growing, that you are stepping outside the limits that once defined you. Every drop of sweat, every late night, every early morning when you didn't feel like getting up, those are the building blocks of a stronger version of you. You don't become great when it's easy. You become great when it's hard, when it hurts, when everything in you is screaming to stop, and you decide to keep going anyway. Understand this clearly. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to hand you success. Nobody cares enough to carry your dreams for you. If you want it, you have to take responsibility. You have to show up when it's inconvenient. You have to work when you're tired. You have to stay disciplined when motivation disappears. Because motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like a wave. But discipline, that's what carries you through the pain. Discipline is what gets you out of bed when your body says no. Discipline is what keeps you focused when distractions are everywhere. Discipline is what turns small actions into massive results over time. You have to decide what kind of person you want to be. Do you want to be someone who gives in at the first sign of struggle? Or do you want to be the one who pushes forward no matter what? Because the difference between winners and losers is not talent. It's not luck. It's not luck. It's the ability to endure pain longer than others. Every champion you admire has gone through it. They doubted themselves. They failed. They felt pain that most people would never understand, but they didn't stop. They didn't let temporary discomfort destroy their long-term vision. They kept going, step by step, even when progress felt invisible. And that's what you must do. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to keep moving forward. One more step, one more effort, one more push. Even if it's slow, even if it's messy, even if nobody notices, keep going, because pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. The regret of not trying, giving up too early, of wondering what if, that pain will stay with you far longer than the struggle you're facing right now. You have more strength in you than you realize. You've survived difficult days before. You've overcome challenges before. And you can do it again, but only if you refuse to quit. When your body says stop, push a little further. When your mind says you're done, remind yourself why you started. When everything feels impossible, take control of your thoughts and focus on the next step, not the entire journey. Champions aren't built in comfort. They are built in the moments when they feel like breaking but choose not to. They are built in silence, sacrifice, and relentless effort when nobody is watching. So embrace the struggle. Accept the pain. Use it. Let it sharpen you, not break you. Let it fuel you, not stop you. Because on the other side of that pain is growth, strength, confidence, and a version of yourself that you haven't even met yet. This is your test. This is your moment. This is where you prove to yourself who you really are. Don't stop. Don't slow down. Don't give in. Push through the pain and become the champion you were meant to be. Pain has a way of demanding your attention. It shows up uninvited often at the exact moment you start pushing beyond what feels comfortable. It can be physical, mental, or emotional, and it almost always feels like a warning sign telling you to stop. But what if that signal isn't telling you to quit? What if it's actually pointing you toward growth? Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort. They choose what is easy, what is familiar, what requires the least effort. And for a while, that path feels safe. But over time, it leads to stagnation. Nothing changes, nothing improves, and deep down, there's a quiet frustration that comes from knowing you're capable of more. Growth doesn't live in comfort. Growth lives in resistance and challenge in those moments where continuing feels difficult. When you begin to understand this, your relationship with pain starts to shift. Instead of seeing it as something negative, you start recognizing it as part of the process. Just like muscles grow by being pushed beyond their limits, your character, your mindset, and your abilities expand when you face resistance. Without that pressure, there is no transformation. Think about any meaningful achievement. It always comes with a cost. There are sacrifices, setbacks, and moments of doubt. There are times when you question whether it's worth it, but those moments are not obstacles placed in your way to stop you. They are tests designed to strengthen you. Every time you push through, you become a little tougher, a little more resilient, a little more prepared for what lies ahead. Pain also reveals the truth about your commitment. It strips away excuses and forces you to confront yourself. It asks a simple question: how badly do you want this? So it's easy to say you want success when everything is going well. It's easy to stay motivated when progress is visible, but when things get hard, when results are slow, when you feel exhausted, that's when your true level of commitment is revealed. In those moments, you have a choice. You can interpret pain as a reason to stop, or you can see it as a sign that you're on the right path. One choice leads to comfort and short-term relief. The other leads to growth and long-term fulfillment. The difference between the two is how you respond. It's important to understand that not all pain is the same. There is pain that signals harm, and there is pain that signals growth. Learning to distinguish between the two is part of the journey. Growth-related pain challenges you, stretches you forward. It might be uncomfortable, but it doesn't destroy you, it builds you. When you embrace this idea, you stop fearing discomfort. You stop running from difficulty. Instead, you begin to lean into it. You start to welcome challenges because you know they are shaping you into someone stronger. You begin to trust the process, even when it feels uncertain. There will still be moments when it feels overwhelming. There will still be days when the effort feels heavier than usual. But instead of seeing those moments as setbacks, you start viewing them as necessary steps in your evolution. Each struggle becomes a lesson. Each challenge becomes an opportunity. Over time, something powerful happens. The things that once felt impossible start to feel manageable. The pain that once made you want to quit becomes something you can handle. You develop resilience, and with that resilience comes confidence. Not the calmness from easy win, but the calm that comes from easy wins, but the calm that comes from knowing you can endure, adapt, and overcome. This is how growth works. It's not a straight line and it's never comfortable, but it is always worth it. Because on the other side of that pain is progress. On the other side is a stronger version of yourself. Someone who has faced challenges and refused to back down. So when pain shows up, don't immediately assume it's a signal to stop. Take a moment to understand it. Ask yourself what it's trying to teach you. Recognize that it might be the very thing that's pushing you toward the next level. The path to becoming better is not easy, but it is simple. You keep going, you keep pushing, you keep growing. And you learn to see pain not as an enemy, but as a necessary part of the journey towards something greater. Motivation feels powerful when it shows up. It gives you a surge of energy, a sense of clarity, and the belief that you can take on anything. In those moments, everything seems possible. You make plans, you set goals, and you feel ready to act. But motivation has a weakness. It doesn't stay. It fades when things get difficult, when progress slows down, or when life throws distractions in your path. If you rely only on motivation, your progress will always be inconsistent. This is where discipline separates those who dream from those who achieve. Discipline is not about how you feel in the moment. It's about what you do despite how you feel. It's the ability to follow through on your commitments even when the excitement is gone. It's showing up when you're tired, when you're bored, when you'd rather be doing anything else. There will be many days when you don't feel like working toward your goals. Your mind will offer you reasons to delay, to take a break, to start tomorrow instead. Those reasons will sound convincing because they are rooted in comfort. But discipline allows you to recognize those thoughts without obeying them. It gives you the power to act based on what matters, not what feels easy. Discipline is built through repetition. Every time you choose to act instead of procrastinate, you strengthen it. Every time you keep your word to yourself, even in small ways, you reinforce the habit of consistency. It's not about making one big decision. It's about making the right decision over and over again. At first, it feels difficult. You have to push yourself consciously. You have to remind yourself why you started. But over time, those actions become automatic. What once required effort becomes part of who you are. You no longer rely on bursts of motivation because your routine carries you forward. One of the biggest advantages of discipline is that it creates stability. When you depend on motivation, your efforts rise and fall with your emotions. Some days you do a lot, and other days you do nothing. But with discipline, your effort becomes steady. You make progress even on the days when you're not at your best. And that consistency is what leads to real results. It's also important to understand that discipline is not about perfection. You will make mistakes. There will be moments when you fall short of your own expectation. But discipline means you don't let those moments define you. You don't quit because of one bad day. You get back on track and continue moving forward. Another key aspect of discipline is structure. When you create clear routines and habits, you reduce the need for constant decision-making. You don't wake up and wonder whether you should work on your goals. You already know. That clarity removes hesitation and makes it easier to take action. Discipline also builds trust in yourself. When you consistently do what you say you will do, you start to believe in your own reliability. That belief becomes a powerful foundation for confidence. You stop doubting whether you can follow through because you've proven it to yourself repeatedly. Over time, this mindset changes how you approach challenges. Instead of waiting to feel ready, you act anyway. Instead of avoiding difficult tasks, you face them directly. You become someone who gets things done regardless of circumstances. The truth is, motivation can start the journey, but it cannot finish it. It might get you excited, but it won't carry you through the long, difficult stretches where progress is slow and effort feels heavy. Only discipline can do that. When you rely on discipline, you remove uncertainty from your progress. You no longer depend on external factors or fleeting emotions. You take control of your actions, and through those actions, you shape your results. In the end, success is not built on rare moments of inspiration. It's built on daily choices repeated consistently over time. It's built on doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. And that is why discipline matters more than motivation. Because when motivation fades, and it will, discipline is what keeps you moving, keeps you growing, and ultimately leads you to where you want to be. There comes a point in every journey where the path splits in two. One direction leads back to comfort, familiarity, ease. The other leads forward into uncertainty, difficulty, and challenge. Most people, when faced with this moment, choose the path that feels safe. They convince themselves they'll try again later, that they've done enough for now, that it's okay to slow down. And just like that, progress stops. But there are few who make a different choice. When they reach that same point, when everything inside them is urging them to step back, they lean forward instead. They take the harder path. Not because it's easy, but because they understand what it leads to. These are the individuals who separate themselves from the rest. These are the ones who become champions. Comfort is seductive. It whispers to you, telling you that you deserve rest, that you've already worked hard enough, that there's no need to push further. And sometimes rest is necessary. But comfort, when chosen too often, becomes a trap. It keeps you in the same place, repeating the same patterns, achieving the same results. It feels good in the moment, but over time, it costs you growth. Champions see comfort differently. They don't chase it. They manage it. They understand that if they stay in it too long, they lose their edge. So when the moment comes to choose between what is easy and what is necessary, they choose what is necessary, even if it's uncomfortable. This doesn't mean they don't feel the same resistance as everyone else. They do. They feel the same fatigue, the same doubts, the same urge to quit. The difference is in how they respond. Instead of letting those feelings control their actions, they acknowledge them and move forward anyway. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They create progress in imperfect conditions. Pushing forward when others choose comfort is not about being fearless. It's about acting despite fear. It's about understanding that growth requires effort, and effort is rarely comfortable. It's about committing to a vision that is bigger than the temporary discomfort you feel in the moment. There will be times when nobody is watching, when there's no recognition, no reward, no immediate result. Those are the moments that matter the most, because it's easy to perform when there is praise, when there is validation. But true progress happens in silence, in those unseen hours where the only thing driving you is your own commitment. In those moments, it's tempting to take shortcuts. It's tempting to do less, to settle for average, to tell yourself that it's good enough. But champions don't settle. They hold themselves to a higher standard, even when nobody else does. They understand that every small decision adds up, that every choice either moves them closer to their goals or further away. Over time, these choices create a gap. At first, it's barely noticeable. The extra effort, the extra discipline, the extra push, it doesn't seem like much. But as days turn into weeks and weeks into months, that gap grows wider. The ones who consistently chose comfort stay where they are, while those who kept pushing forward begin to rise. This is how greatness is built. Not in one big moment, but in countless small moments where the harder choice is made. It's built in the decision to keep going when it would be easier to stop. It's built in the willingness to endure discomfort in exchange for progress. Eventually, the results start to show. The effort compounds. The struggles turn into strength. The doubts are replaced by confidence. And what once felt impossible begins to feel within reach. And with that awareness, you gain the ability to make better choices. Instead of reacting automatically, you respond intentionally. Over time, you start to trust yourself more. You realize that you can handle difficult situations. You understand that discomfort is temporary and that it often leads to something better. This trust reduces fear and increases confidence, not because the challenges disappear, but because you know you can face them. Another key part of building mental strength is persistence. It's the ability to keep going, even when progress is slow or unclear. There will be times when your efforts don't produce immediate results. There will be setbacks, mistakes, and moments of frustration. But each of these experiences is an opportunity to grow stronger. Instead of seeing setbacks as failures, you begin to see them as lessons. You learn what works and what doesn't. You adapt, you adjust, and you continue. This process strengthens your mindset because it shifts your focus from outcomes to growth. Mental strength also comes from accepting that the journey will not always be smooth. There will be ups and downs, successes and failures. Trying to avoid these fluctuations only limits your progress. Embracing them allows you to move forward with a more balanced perspective. As you continue to face discomfort and doubt, something changes. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. What once caused hesitation becomes something you can navigate with confidence. You develop a sense of control, not over external circumstances, but over your response to them. This control is powerful. It allows you to stay focused in challenging situations. It helps you maintain clarity when emotions are high. It enables you to make decisions based on your goals rather than your fears. In the end, mental strength is built one moment at a time. It is the result of choosing to continue when it would be easier to stop. It is the result of facing discomfort instead of avoiding it, and moving through doubt instead of being controlled by it. These choices may seem small, but they add up. They shape your mindset, your habits, and your identity. And over time, they turn you into someone who is not easily shaken, someone who can handle challenges, and someone who keeps moving forward no matter what. That is the power of enduring discomfort and doubt. It doesn't just help you achieve your goals, it transforms who you become in the process. Quitting often feels like relief in the moment. When things get difficult, when progress slows, or when the effort starts to feel overwhelming, walking away can seem like the easiest option. It removes the pressure, the discomfort, and the uncertainty all at once. For a short time, it feels like you've escaped the struggle. But that relief doesn't last. What replaces it is something far heavier. Regret is not loud at first. It doesn't hit you immediately. It builds slowly over time, showing up in quiet moments when you reflect on what could have been. It asks questions that don't have answers anymore. What if you had kept going? What if you had pushed a little further? What if you hadn't given up when things got hard? These thoughts stay with you, not because you failed, but because you stopped trying. There's a difference between failing and quitting. Failure is part of the process. Teaches, it shapes, and it provides feedback that helps you grow. Quitting, on the other hand, cuts off that process completely. It closes the door before you have a chance to learn, improve, or succeed. When you quit, you remove the possibility of progress. Persistence works in the opposite direction. It keeps that door open. It allows you to continue learning, adapting, and moving forward. It doesn't guarantee immediate success, but it guarantees that you are still in the game. And as long as you are still in the game, there is always a chance to improve. One of the hardest parts of persistence is continuing when results are not visible. You put in the effort, you stay committed, but the outcome doesn't reflect your work right away. This is where many people lose patience. They expect quick results. When they don't see them, they begin to doubt the process. But meaningful progress takes time. It builds gradually, often without immediate recognition. The effort you put in today may not show results tomorrow, but it's contributing to something that will become visible later. Persistence requires trust in that process, even when it feels uncertain. Another challenge is dealing with setbacks. Things won't always go as planned. There will be mistakes, delays, and unexpected obstacles. In those moments, quitting can feel justified. It can feel like the logical response to repeated difficulty. But setbacks are not signals to stop. They are part of the path. Each setback carries a lesson. It shows you what needs to change, what needs to improve, and where your weaknesses are. When you persist, you use that information to adjust your approach. You become more effective, more aware, and more prepared for future challenges. Persistence also builds resilience. Every time you choose to continue despite difficulty, you strengthen your ability to handle future challenges. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. What once caused you to doubt yourself becomes something you can navigate with confidence. Over time, this resilience changes how you see obstacles. Instead of viewing them as barriers, you begin to see them as opportunities to grow. This shift in perspective makes it easier to keep going, even when the journey is difficult. It's important to understand that persistence is not about pushing blindly. It's about staying committed while remaining flexible. You may need to change your strategy, adjust your methods, or take a different approach. But the goal remains the same. You keep moving forward. The longer you persist, the more your efforts begin to compound. Small improvements add up. Skills develop. Confidence grows. And eventually, the results start to appear. They may not come the way you expected, but they come as a result of your continued effort. When you look back, you realize that the moments you wanted to quit were the moments that mattered most. Those were the points where your decision determined your direction. By choosing to persist, you moved closer to your goals. By choosing to continue, you avoided the long-term weight of regret. In the end, quitting trades short-term comfort for long-term dissatisfaction. Persistence does the opposite. It requires effort, patience, and resilience in the present, but it leads to growth, achievement, and fulfillment over time. The choice is always there. In every difficult moment, you decide whether to stop or to continue. And while quitting may feel easier in the moment, persistence is what builds something meaningful. Because the effort you continue to invest shapes your future, while the effort you abandon leaves questions that never fade. In the end, your life will be shaped by the choices you make when things become difficult. Every challenge is an opportunity to prove your strength. Every setback is a lesson that prepares you for greater victories, and every painful moment is a chance to rise above who you used to be. Champions are not created by comfort, ease, or shortcuts. They are forged through struggle, discipline, consistency, and a refusal to quit. The road will test you, break your limits, and demand more from you than you think you can give. But if you keep pushing, keep believing, and keep moving forward, no matter how hard it gets, you will become stronger than your excuses, greater than your fears, and more powerful than your doubts. The pain you feel today is shaping the success you will celebrate tomorrow. So stand tall, stay focused, and remind yourself that greatness is never given. It is earned. Keep fighting, keep grinding, and never stop until the person you are becoming makes the struggle worth it.